Hello, welcome back to the podcast. This time we are doing a little flashback to previous years because this is the first guest interview that I've done since 2024, which is crazy because I used to do a lot of interviews and since then I've done more solos and I love both, but I had to reserve the next guest that I had on to be someone who is very special and who is going to give us an amazing interview. And that person is the one and only Rochelle Fox, who is one of my favorite people to follow online. And she is also the founder of Mindspo and the Mindspo Retreat Company. And if you've been following along, you might remember that I went on a Mindspo retreat in May and had the best time. And when I was there, I asked, could she come on the show? And she accepted, which is really nice of her. She's very busy. She came out with a book earlier this year called Magnetic, which is definitely a go-to, a must-read if you haven't already, because it covers so many of the key things that you need to know about the subconscious mind and tools like visualization, EFT, some of the things that I talk about here on the show. So that is one of my recommended books. I've got it right here. The cover is just so gorgeous as well. So we wanna yeah, definitely check this out if you are new to this world, or even if you are pretty well versed. It goes deep into some really important areas, and there's a lot of journaling prompts and little activities that you can do as well. So it's a nice coffee table book to look at also. So if you're not familiar with Rochelle, she is a speaker, author, meditation and manifestation teacher. She's the founder of Mindspo, a global personal growth platform, meditation app, and international retreats company. Since launching Mindspo in 2016, she has helped thousands of people transform their mental health through practical tools, meditation, and subconscious reprogramming. Through her work, Rochelle empowers others to rewrite their story, manifest from the present moment, and take charge of their reality. In this episode, we could have gone a million different directions, but we covered her journey and how she went from working in the entertainment industry as a DJ, a model, and presenter to finding meditation, going through her spiritual awakening. She really hit rock bottom with her mental health, and she shares very vulnerably about that and how meditation basically saved her life and how it can change your life as well. She talks about how to shift our reality. So if we're currently unhappy with where we're at, we need to do something different. We kind of need to be someone different as well. So she shares the steps that you need to take to do that. More on the subconscious mind. Really interesting area was on the fear of being seen. I've heard her talk about that before, and I could definitely relate. And she shares how just being your authentic self, you're not going to please everyone, but if you can be the most authentic you, you're going to find people who really resonate with you. And anyone who doesn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're wrong or they're wrong. We can all just learn from each other and you find your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe, as they say. And the last few things that we cover are limiting beliefs, some of the most common ones, manifestation movies, which is a big thing that she's done and is a part of the Mindspo app as well. It's actually one of my favorite parts of her app, and that is one that I use myself every single day. Since going to the retreat, you got access to it when you were on the retreat, and then I've just continued using it every day. I'm doing the 22-minute Mindspo meditation, which I can't remember if I told Rochelle before, but I actually tried that one a few weeks before the retreat just to test it out, and I turned it off after a few minutes because it's not really a guided meditation. Saul, her partner, Chris Saul, he does a bit of an intro and gets you relaxed and has you clear your mind of thoughts, but then they just leave you to it for about 20 minutes. And I wasn't used to that. But when I went to the retreat, I really learned the importance of just a still mind and coming back to the present moment. I'd been chopping and changing, trying different guided meditations all the time, never stuck to one, always had to be listening to something or doing some guided visualization process. And that was actually just keeping my mind very active. So for the whole of June, I did the Mindspo meditation, which is a mantra-based meditation, and I'm proud of myself because I stuck to it at least once a day, sometimes twice. And that is a big deal coming from someone who used to think that they weren't suited for meditation and that I just have a super busy mind, but I believe now that everyone will benefit from meditation. And if you're the type of person who says it's not for me, you probably need it more than anyone, to be honest. So I hope you enjoy this conversation. It was really fun. We both discovered on the recording that we were both ovulating, so it's very ovulation energy. Great conversation. I just love her. You'll hear me fangirling over her as we go through. And if you haven't followed her before, I'll put all of her links and everything in the show notes. But let's get into this amazing conversation with Rochelle Fox. Hello, Rochelle. Welcome to the podcast.
I am so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. I feel like this is a manifestation for myself, even before I came on the retreat. So that is how we connected. I was one of your guests on the Mindspo retreat in Cyprus, May
Yep.
2025, which feels like a lifetime ago, but it was very life-changing. So I'm just
Oh,
excited to chat with you again because we had the best week, and I'm
yeah.
just preaching to everyone now they need to attend.
Honestly, it's so funny when I meet people on retreats. You were just one of these people on the retreat that I just really connected with. And when you said you wanted to have me on the podcast, it was just like an absolute hell yes. I'm so, so grateful. So I can't wait to talk all about it.
And I followed your stuff for years, like years and years and years ago. And then I feel like I don't know what happened. I don't know if I stopped following you or I just didn't hear from your stuff in a while. Instagram
Mhm.
likes to hide content sometimes and shadow ban people. But then I came across you again. And when I saw that you were collaborating with Megan Rose Lane, I was like, this is the perfect power couple. The two people that I love the work of. And it was really nice at the retreat because this was the Empress retreat, which I know you're not
Mhm.
running anymore, but you both individually do your own stuff now. But a lot of the people who went to the retreat were saying that you and Megan was such like a nice contrast in terms of
Mm.
how you show up as the feminine. So it's all about feminine energy. So Megan
Yeah.
was more like this grounded energy, then you brought the wild, like creative side, and it was just so nice to see how it can be
Oh.
expressed in different ways.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's so interesting. Like, women are so multifaceted. And I think sometimes we can put the feminine in such a box of what we think it should be. I loved on the retreat, like, I remember asking everyone, like, what is your definition of the feminine? Like, when you say the word feminine, what comes to you? And we all have such different answers. And I think that's just so important to remember that we're all so different, yet we're also connected.
And like I said, I followed your work before and I just loved your energy. But honestly, in person,
Oh.
you are magnetic. The title of your book, I can tell you've done the work and you have, I know you've been through a lot of different stuff as well and you've overcome a lot. So I can tell when people it's a bit of a facade and it's a bit fake, and I can tell with you you've really, yeah, you've done the deep work. And it can be deep and uncomfortable, but yeah,
Mm.
you're really a reflection of that and shifting your limiting beliefs, which I really respect. But I would love you to share your story and how you actually got into this work in the first place, because you started off in the entertainment industry, didn't you?
I did. So I have a bit of a funny journey of how I got here. I never planned to do what I do, and I'm so grateful to do it now, but it was never the dream or the intention per se. I always thought I was going to be in the entertainment industry, just kind of doing that work. I always thought I'd be DJing and presenting and modeling, and I was never into spirituality. I was never into this whole entire realm. I wasn't into personal development. But I fell into this because I was going through some really heavy stuff. I was going through a lot of struggles with my mental health. So anxiety, depression, an eating disorder, panic attacks, night terrors, a whole mental health mixed bag. And it was kind of at a breaking point where things were just kind of really crumbling, not just internally anymore, but externally. And I think a lot of people crumble inside, and I'm very good at keeping things on the inside and making sure like everything's fine. But I got to this point in my early 20s where like my outside world was also very much imploding, and I really needed to, find a solution. So I tried so many different things to try and fix myself. Some alternative methods that maybe aren't so kosher. And I also did some, more traditional methods, and nothing really helped me. And then I finally was seeing a cognitive behavioral therapist. And I think that's so important to go and get the help that you feel like you need. And when I went and saw her for the first time in my life, I actually wrote a letter with everything that had actually happened to me as a child. And although I'll be honest with you, I've never spoken about it on a podcast, the nitty gritty details, or even in my book. It's interesting as a person in this space, people often wonder, like, why don't everyone know exactly what your PTSD is from? And if I'm honest, I don't want to I don't want to talk about the things that happened to me over and over and over again. It's quite traumatizing. But I told this woman in a letter, and gosh, I'll never forget. She read the letter, and I was sitting opposite her, and she just had this giant book that was always on her coffee table. We're talking like a therapist's office, very traditional. You like it in the movies with the glass coffee table with the one
Lots of
medical book.
tissues.
And yeah, literally, it was so clinical. I look back, I'm like, it's such a movie scene what happened. But she did. She opened this giant book and she turned it around. She pushed it towards me and she said, please read these 2 pages. And at the top of the page, it said PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. I'll never forget reading those 2 pages. It was like reading a book of my life. It was 2 pages, but it explained everything. It made sense of why all of the things that I was going through, which was such a collection of mental health struggles, it all kind of had this one root, which was PTSD, and that was PTSD from childhood trauma. And I got that diagnosis, and I felt that now that I had a name for it that encompassed everything, I could now manage it and do something about it. I had no idea what I was going to do at the time though, but I just loved the idea that I had a label because that just sort of it summed everything up for me. But basically I told a few of our friends found out that I had PTSD, and one close friend of Sol and I's, he basically turned around and said, well, like there's a lot of people coming back from the Afghanistan war, the US soldiers, and they have PTSD. And at the time, suicide was a really big issue with people coming back from that war. And they were learning meditation. Apparently, meditation was helping them with this PTSD and really helping them with the suicidal ideation. And I was really going through that. I was like quite seriously quite suicidal at the time. And I remember hearing that and thinking, that's interesting. And then one day I was sitting at home on this beanbag that I used to just stare on, like sit on and zone out at the wall and honestly just eat candy and then throw up and binge eat and do all the things that no one knew I was doing. But I decided to go on YouTube that day and I typed in, PTSD Army Soldier Meditation. And I found this video of this guy. And I'm talking, he's like this, he wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, but in my head, he was Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger. It was
Close
this
enough.
like built brick shit house, like huge guy with all of these army medals, square jaw, like just giant, like really built. And he was the kind of person that you would never expect to talk about meditation. And this is back in 2012, before wellness, meditation, all of these things were trending and cool. I listened to this guy and he was talking about how he, almost lost his brother in well, not almost, he had lost his brother in arms to suicide. And then he'd almost done that as well. And then he found meditation and it saved his life. And I thought, oh, if it can work for this guy, then, and he looks like this, then maybe, just maybe it could work for me. Not long after, I spent the last $1,000 in my bank account to go and find a reputable meditation studio in Sydney. I did a 3-day meditation course. That 3-day meditation course changed and transformed my life. That practice saved my life in ways that I can't even express and led me on the path to where I am now. I was, like I said, I was still DJing and presenting back at that time. So I was meditating in the morning, DJing at night, living this very kind of I wouldn't say like random lifestyle, but it was just a very contrasting kind of, lifestyle at the time because I had this deep spiritual practice and I was in this kind of great personal development journey while also in this sort of wild entertainment industry. And I stayed in that industry for like 5 or 6 years and doing all of that stuff while meditating. And I was kind of like this secret spiritual warrior. I would constantly tell everyone about meditation. I was like an evangelist, those people that you get on the street and they try and sell you
Going on the
something. I was
mic. Everyone needs to
literally
meditate.
I was doing that, but I was DJing and people would come up to me and tell me, oh, I'm so anxious. I have work tomorrow. I've had too much champagne. I'd be like, well, let me just mix this song. But have you heard about meditation? Because let me tell you. And
You're just playing frequency music in your headphones.
Literally, I was just this really interesting time in my life, and yeah, things changed for me, and I decided to eventually go and learn and study and become a meditation teacher, do my yoga teacher training, all of that, and then I led on this path. I eventually started Mindspo, which you've now been exposed to, which is a retreats company. It's an app, it's a personal development platform, it's a community, and that is sort of how I've gotten to where I am today. And when I got into when I got into wellness, I started to want a job in wellness, but I never knew how it would turn out. So it's funny how the universe sometimes takes us through some really, really like hard and challenging times, and that leads us to such purpose and beauty. And I've always said I've turned my pain into my purpose, and I don't think that's always easy to do, but I'm really, really, yeah, lucky I feel to have, just kind of stayed with the path and trusted it.
Yeah, same thing happened with me, but more of my physical health.
Yeah.
When I was in my late teens, developed a lot of chronic health issues. And at the time, you're like, why me? Victim mode,
Mm.
watching other people apparently thriving and living their life. And then I was just stuck at home with these horrible symptoms. And on reflection, I can see how that put me on my path because I was asking questions like, what am I meant to
Mm.
do? I don't really know what career path I want to go down. So it was really the universe bringing me to rock bottom and redirecting me and putting me on my path. So I wouldn't change anything about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was all meant to be. But when you're in it, it's hard to see that.
Oh, 100%. And to the listeners that are listening to us right now that are in it, I have so much empathy and so much love. And I know you do too. It's so easy to say it's all going to work out, turn your pain into your purpose. But when you're in it, you're like, oh, you don't understand. I'm going through it. And it's hard. Like it's not easy. So
I
yeah, I
do
have
understand.
a lot of love for that.
So, what is it specifically about meditation that helped you compared to other things that you tried?
It's a great question. I think meditation for me was this I'm going to just say it was a spiritual awakening. It wasn't some logical thing. It was this moment that I remember having on my beanbag that I wrote in the book. So the same beanbag that I watched that YouTube video on, which was the
Been
same
through a lot
beanbag
this
that my partner
beanbag.
used. Well, it was a beanbag that my partner used to sit and smoke weed on. It was a beanbag that I used to binge eat on, and then it was the beanbag that I would meditate on. Like this,
Yeah,
this beanbag it was a multi-purpose. I'm pretty sure I had sex on it as well at some point as well.
love
It was
it.
like this. It was this.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah, it was this multi. It's not a small beanbag. I'm talking. It was like a love sack beanbag, one of those
Mhm.
giant ones. Anyway, TMI. But I remember sitting on this beanbag in a meditation session, and it was just this awareness that I had one day during meditation that I could watch my thoughts, and if I could watch my thoughts and who was thinking, and that was wild for me. The fact that I wasn't my thoughts, I think that everything else that I had done was very intellectual, and also, lots of different. I tried SSRIs and all these other different things, and I think a lot of those things that they had improvements, but they were masking something. What I really needed was a complete separation from the absolute crazed inner bitch inside my head. I had a horrible person inside of my head, which I call my inner bitch, that I thought that's who I was. I thought she was speaking truth. I thought that the limits that she told me, the things that she put on me, the words that she said, the thoughts that she had in her head, like I thought that was me. And I believed those and I made those my identity. And when I learned meditation, there was this practice of watching my thoughts, observing my thoughts, and getting distance from them. That distance, oh my Lord, that was what I needed. That was just this penny drop moment. I'm a very logical person. I can sometimes be very in my head. And I've been on, like lately, very much a more body based, a healing journey, working a lot more with my nervous system. And I think back then, I really needed to just distance myself and get some self awareness in my head and just departner myself from that negativity.
And understanding that our thoughts aren't fact as well.
Yep.
I love at the
100%. They're
retreat
just
when you were
things.
saying how the thought could be something that you've heard on a movie one time, or something that
Yeah.
your mum told you growing up, or this inner bitch, or yeah, your child younger self. So just getting to
Yeah.
figure out where these thoughts are stemming from. A lot of our thoughts are on repeat. About 90% of the thoughts we think today are from yesterday too. So
Yeah.
if someone is currently not happy with their life. They're at rock
Hmm.
bottom, either physically or mentally or both, and they want to completely change their life, change their identity. You talk about in the book and on your podcast it's first important to get familiar with the old identity, the one that you're wanting to leave behind, and any limiting beliefs, and then step into the new identity, this future self. So where would you start with that? Is it as
Great.
simple as just writing down on a piece of paper? And then what do we do with that?
Great question. The first thing I would start with is getting so sick of your own shit. So you know when you're really pissed off with someone and you're just done with their behavior and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so over this, whatever it is, or just like a situation in your life and you're just like, I'm releasing, I'm just boom. I think sometimes we don't get annoyed enough with ourselves. And that sounds weird to get annoyed with yourself, but like sometimes you just need to like look at yourself and be like, Rochelle, I am so fucking sick of you. I am just done. This is like, we are not doing this anymore. And I think that that level of like, I'm just leaving it at the door. This is no longer moving forward. That is a really important moment to have because I think that sometimes we don't get sick enough of our own shit that we just continue it on and we stay in these cycles. We need to be able to call ourselves out and say, nah, I am changing things right here, right now. So I think having one of those big moments, I like to, when I realize something within myself where I'm like, well, girl, you have been in a loop and you have just been playing the victim and you just need to let it go. Like I really get in that moment. I'm like, get annoyed at myself. And I have that intensity. And I think that's quite powerful because it leaves like a mark of like, no, we made a boundary and we made a boundary with ourselves. And I think you have to realize that your relationship with you is the longest relationship you're ever going to have in your life. And you're in a relationship with yourself. And that's a kind of weird thing that a lot of people don't think about, but it is a relationship. So you got to like think about like, am I happy with this relationship that I'm having with myself or is it a little toxic? Because I don't know about you, but my relationship with myself sometimes has been a little toxic. The next thing I would do, practical step, is I would ask everyone to get out a piece of paper and write down all of the repetitive thoughts that you hear inside your head. So all of the things that you're hearing on repeat again and again, these are things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I suck, everyone's going to judge me, they secretly hate me, like whatever it is that is ruminating on your head, the things that you're not saying out loud. And I think this is a really important distinction because we all have a voice inside our head and then we all have a conversation and a stream of consciousness that no one else is hearing. Even I have like doubts and insecurities that I'm not verbalizing out loud, but you need to actually get them out and see them because the act of seeing them on paper in a journal is very, very powerful for a heavy dose of self-awareness. Once you have these thoughts and these ideas out there, the next step I would tell everyone to do is to look at them and try and identify where these voices come from. If it's that you suck and you're not smart enough, ask yourself, does this come from you or does this come from something in childhood? Was there someone, a school teacher that really thought that you sucked at writing and that you're not smart enough? Or was there a mother or a parental figure that told you that you were, not the smart one, you were the creative one, and now that's like done something to your identity and held you back? So start to identify, and this isn't a blame game of like, oh my God, I can't believe my mother said this to me when I was 6. What an asshole. Like, your mum's a human too. She's absolutely imperfect and she's learning how to parent. Like, you got to let it go. Easier said than done, but super important to do. But it's really important to get the distance of like, where did this even come from? Like, who input this? Because if you imagine your mind is like, I always like to think about like a computer, and you have your conscious mind, but then you have your subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the screen on the computer, the thing that we can see. The subconscious mind is all of the wires, the system and the power and the programs and the microchips in the back. And we have to start asking ourselves like, who imprinted these programs? Once you can start to see them and identify them, that step really helps you get a little distance. You're like, oh, okay, I can see that this was just something, it's a story. It's just something that I've kept going. The next thing I would do after that, once you have a little bit of idea who said what, and sometimes you're not going to find who said what. Like a lot of my things I've written Dolly magazine, which is like a magazine that we had when we were really young in Australia that was kind of sometimes a little toxic. It was kind of like the lose 5 pounds in 6 days kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Like
wow,
Heat
there's a lot of
magazine in the UK. Heat magazine is
yeah.
the equivalent.
Literally there's a lot of that in my subconscious, especially around body image. I found, so I write all that out, and then what I would do is I would come up with a more compassionate thought. So if you're having a self-hating thought, you need to meet it with compassion. Compassion is really realizing like where you're at and acknowledging your humanness while also having like a growth mindset of being able to grow. So meeting it with a compassionate thought. So when you have this thought of I suck, I'm not great at writing, the compassionate thought right back to it would be, I am getting better at writing every single day. I'm committed to showing up and working through this. Admitting your humanness. I sometimes think when you're in a really dark place, just saying, I'm a great and powerful writer. It's like, well, if you've got a lot of evidence that you suck at that, and I'm using this as an example because this is a thought that I used to have coming from a girl who just wrote a book. I had to rewire this so much. I think you have to realize that just saying that you're great when evidently it might be something you struggle with, that's not always going to help you. You have to create this bridge, this ability to change the identity and to have compassion for where you're at and realizing that you can grow and change. I think for me, the growth mindset and neuroplasticity is huge. We have to realize that we can grow, we can transform, we can change. We're not fixed. It's just that our mindset is fixed, but you can move into a growth mindset. So, those would be some practical things I would say. And another tip I would have for anyone is look, find more people that have grown through what they've gone through. Find more people that might have the same struggles as you or that have gone through something, and then get a coach. Like, people listening to this right now, like, you're such an incredible person that people can say like, hey, I'm having all these mental health issues, I'm having identity issues, I'm having all these like things in my head about I'm not good enough, and you can take them on this beautiful journey because you've been through that and you've got the evidence to be able to support someone. So I think getting that support on the journey, and realizing that you're not alone. Like, everyone struggles. That's what makes us human.
It's very true. And a lot of these subconscious thoughts do stem from childhood, but there might have
Yes.
also been a big life event that happened in your late teens. The subconscious
Mm,
mind is forming from the age of 0 to 7, where we're in this pretty much constant hypnosis state. But I found it interesting, even at the retreat again, how it was either in yours or Megan's workshop where she had us go back to a memory. And I feel like the majority of people there were going back to childhood memories, but it was
mm,
me. Mine was me, age 20, in my bedroom with chronic illness. And
mm.
that surprised me because I've done so much work on that. And I was like, surely there's not more that I need to work on. Because I've been healthy for about 5 years now. But yeah, there was another layer. So I feel like
Yeah,
this work never ends, but it does get much easier, doesn't it? It's something that we always have
100%.
to stay on top of our nervous system and our mindset just being in this modern world. But sometimes there is a bit more deep work that you need to do initially just to get you out of
Mm,
that hole, and then it becomes a lot more easy and you can find the things that work best for you. So it could be the
100%.
of 10-minute morning meditation every day just sets your day up in the best way, but you can let go of all of the journaling and the 2 hour practice that you do every day.
Oh,
But yeah, I want people to know that it's a process and it has to be
mm,
part of your lifestyle and it can be enjoyable.
100%. I think a little thing each day is better than, doing 5 hours, every month or something like that. I think it's more about incorporating it 100%. You're very right there.
Me too. It's like with exercise, rather than killing yourself at the gym for an hour a day and then just sitting on your bum for the rest of it, just having these
Hmm.
little moments where you sneak it in, take the stairs and get a desk treadmill and walk as you're doing emails, that's gonna equate to way better fitness overall.
Agreed.
I just want to check, are you addressing the healing foundations? Not sure what I mean. Well, these are the important factors that I believe that you need to address in order to be in optimal health and overcome your stubborn health issues and symptoms, whether that's chronic digestive issues, acne, hair loss, period problems, weight gain, anxiety, fatigue. I could go on. Because I want as many of you as possible to have this life-changing information, I've bundled together 6 of my juiciest and info-packed masterclasses priced at just £111. Not only are you getting these recordings, which are between 60 and 90 minutes long each, on the following subjects: the power of the subconscious mind, stress, trauma, and the nervous system, supporting your female menstrual cycle, mastering your metabolism, optimizing sleep, gut health and detox. You're also going to receive my healthy groceries shopping list and my favorite non-toxic products guide, which are both usually reserved for my one-to-one clients. Whether you're brand new to the holistic healing world or you've been trying to work on things for a while but feel stuck, I can guarantee there's something within this content that will help you to understand your next steps and what you're missing. Sometimes it's something so foundational that's being overlooked. Get instant access to the Foundations bundle today for just £111 by clicking the link in the episode show notes. And I can't wait to hear about what you've learned. Grab your pen and paper to make notes and get started today. Something else that I have noticed, and then you did highlight it yourself in a podcast episode, is that previously, a few years ago, you used to be very logical and even like science backed with the way that you talk about meditation and all of these different things. Whereas in the past few years, maybe. I know it might have been longer just in your own life, but what you were sharing online, you've become
Mhm.
way more spiritual and talking about more esoteric things, which I
Mhm.
love because I'm like very drawn to that side of things, but it can feel scary sometimes to share that online. And
Mhm.
I even think of the witch wound that a lot of women have, where just
Yeah.
generationally we and ancestrally we would have been burned at the stake for talking about some of this stuff. So I feel like just in our DNA there's this barrier, but I can also relate to the fear of being seen and the fear of
Mhm.
what if someone disagrees with me or thinks that this is weird, or they're asking for a research paper and I'm like, they're not going to be studying some of this stuff. So I'd love to know what sparked that shift for you and
Mhm.
how you've been able to feel more confident talking about this stuff.
Oh, I love this question. I have been on such a journey of feeling safe to be seen and stepping into what I call my magnetic presence. This has been a huge body of work for me and something that I think is very needed in this day and age because we live in such a beautiful world where we can share our voice and our gifts, and we have so many platforms and opportunities, and there's so much abundance to put ourselves out there. But at the same time, we also live in an incredibly polarizing world where it can be really heavy and hard and challenging. And a lot of the people that do want to share all these magical things and to really help people come into this work with because they've gone through struggles and they struggle with regulating their nervous system. They struggle with feeling calm and feeling peaceful. So then you have all this beautiful intention to put yourself out there and share all these gifts, but then you have all of this fear and all of this patterning that then holds you back. So then you get stuck in this kind of sticky situation. I came out of the spiritual closet very, very many years ago. However, I have at times felt I've kept some things in my spiritual closet because it hasn't felt fully safe to put myself out there. And also, it has been an interesting decision in the sense of I do think that with what I do, mixing science and spirituality, I have to be aware of who I'm talking to, and that like I have really wanted to spread my message in a way that it can be received by people that maybe are a little bit more on the fence. And I have really enjoyed helping people kind of come into this work. That said, I'm kind of at a point now where I just feel, well, if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. And we
Mhm.
can just let it be, let it be. And that feels so good to just let it be.
You're like,
Um,
they dip the toes out of mine. You like, just jump in. If you want to go, we'll go deep.
Exactly. So look, I think that it's some of the advice I would have there in terms of being safe to be seen is I feel like we all have a fear around being seen in some way, shape, or another. And it manifests in so many different ways. And it's very, very interesting because I feel that it's a multifaceted thing. If we go back into the subconscious mind and we just start to think about like our programming, we all have a lot of caveman programming and this idea that if we are to put ourselves out there to shine, to do things differently, then we might be shunned, we might be cut from the tribe. And that is so scary to our nervous system that it can put us in complete and utter fight or flight. So I think it's really important just to continually remind yourself that there isn't a line running against you. It's just the online world. Your people will find you, the right people will find you, and you can kind of just like let everyone else be. And I think that really comes down to getting very, very clear on your values, who you are as a person, and just knowing who it is that you want to speak to. This is something I've done a lot more work on recently. I'm not for everyone. You're not for everyone. No one listening is for everyone. Now, I hate saying that because I would love to be liked by everyone. That would
Me
be
too.
so nice. And I'm just gonna put that out there. Like if everyone just loved and adored me, I would like I'd feel so safe and happy all the time. I wouldn't have so many hiccups and things. That would be a really nice reality. Manifesting that in the next life, if you move to some sort of love and light utopia. But like let's be real, it's not the reality of the human experience. So to navigate that, I have just decided that to be the most magnetic version of me, a magnet both attracts and it repels. And I think we forget that. I think we think to be magnetic, to be like a powerful person, we're just attracting all the time. We're pulling things in. We're this attracting force. Let me tell you, baby, if you want to be magnetic as fuck, you need to also accept that you're going to repel, repulse, pull away a lot of people. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you feel safe to be seen, because you're going to be seen authentically as the version of you that you are, not the version of you that is downplayed and minimized and washed down and corrected. So you just have to know who you're talking to and talk from a place of authenticity and surrender and accept before you are rejected that you will be rejected. And it sounds kind of intuitive coming from a meditation and manifestation teacher, because people often think about, oh, you should always think about the best timeline and never think about the worst thing. I think it's really important to think about the worst case scenario and take yourself there so that you can de-pedestal it, minimize the intensity of it, and normalize it. The more neutral you are to things, the more powerful you're going to be in your ability to be able to deal with them. So, yeah, you might have people that don't like what you said or need a study or think that it's hocus pocus or whatever it is that's coming at you. And that's okay. There are always going to be those people. But at the same time, you've got this person, you have so many other people that don't have that opinion. And when you normalize it and you just accept that, like, but it's probably going to happen, when it does happen, you're like, ah, here you are. Welcome. I've been waiting for you. You don't like me? Cool. Welcome to the club. There's a few of them here. I've restricted a few of them. There's a few of them that are blocked that were like absolutely heinous. And like, I just like, I'm protecting my peace. But like, hey, you don't like me. Let's have a conversation about it. And maybe I won't write back to you. Maybe I will. Maybe you can argue on my post if you want. Maybe I'll care. Maybe I won't. Depends how much time I have. And also depends of where I am at my cycle. Because let's be real.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
During my period,
Yeah, a
I'm a
little
lot more
fiery.
like, oh, PMS week, I'm like, oh, there's actually talking about safe to be seen, just to get into like a bit of a practical like women example, because we're talking, obviously hormones, health, you know so much about this, and I feel like your audience would appreciate this. I actually am very mindful sometimes about certain posts or things that I will share around my oh, what would you call it? The like not my PMS week, my
Good deal.
autumn luteal phase. Yeah, my luteal phase is not my like vulnerable, trying to prove a point, decisive. Like no, I'll stack those posts for when I'm ovulating, because if they go viral or if someone wants to bite back at
Your
them,
nervous
I'm
system's
like
more
ovulation.
stable.
I'm like, yeah, come at me,
Yeah.
baby, let's go.
I
So
love
that's actually
that.
something I have done, and there has been times where I've noticed that I played it too safe and I wanted to push the mark with like a witty thing that I've said or a post that I think that is going to maybe upset some people, but like it doesn't really matter, but I want to post it. I will not post those in my luteal.
That is very good advice. I'll have to stick
Yeah.
to that. Because I'm trying
Yeah.
to, because I was just being very vanilla with my content for a
Mm,
long time. I didn't want to upset anyone. I felt like I had to put a disclaimer and fill the caption with all of these nuances, like, no,
mm,
this isn't you if this or that. And I was just getting sick of it. And I was just kind of like fading into all of this noise that's online. And I really realized in order to stand out, you do have to be polarizing. And everyone's heard
mm.
the quote, you could be the juiciest peach in the world, but not everyone likes peaches. But to really
Yes.
understand that, it just makes so much sense and it just takes a lot of the stress off. I love when you talk about the role and the importance of nervous system regulation too. And I know you've done
Mm.
further training on that as well. With how much success you've had becoming an author, hosting, is it like 40 retreats now with Mindspo?
Yeah. I think it's 30,
Okay,
31
wow,
now. Yeah.
crazy. And just even like financial success and social media growth. What have you learned in terms of being able to hold that and get to a different level and that constant growth? Have you done nervous system regulation tools to be able to receive your manifestations and hold
Yeah. So
them?
first thing I would say is every level has another devil. That's important to recognize that you're always going to have problems. Sometimes they're just going to be champagne problems. So I think that success comes with its own perks, quirks, and downfalls. And I think that you have to realize that. And I would really just let everyone know that it's not some utopia that you get there and then it's, oh my gosh, and everything's so easy. If anything, your problems increase. It's just your capacity also, hopefully, if you're doing the work, increases to be able to hold them as well. Look, yeah, EFT is one tool that has been very, very big for me lately. I've done so much work with that. When I was writing Magnetic, I actually got really into emotional freedom technique, which I know that you know about and teach and are great at and have done workshops on. And everyone should go and check out your EFT stuff because you're a gem with it. And you were like, when I was tapping, you were just like, when we were doing our tapping on the retreat, I was like, oh yeah, she could be up here teaching this
It's in
thing.
my own little world.
Yeah, you were just like, you were so like you were just dropped in.
Freestyling.
Yeah. So I think, look, EFT has been really big for me. I've used that a lot for money. That's been huge for me. And I've also used it a lot for my, yeah, blocks around feeling safe to be seen so I can expand my capacity. Breath work is another one that is really powerful for me. I think that when I have something emotionally charged that I need to move through, it's not always meditation that I turn to. It's more of a breath work technique that I tap into just to allow myself to really move that excess energy, adrenaline out of my system. I've started getting a lot more into nervous system regulation practices. So, like somatic practices, body based movement practices, embodiment practices. I think that for me, for a while, was the missing piece in a lot of my own practice. And it's something that, like, I have been doing. But I think that now, since writing my book, I have noticed that I've had bigger problems and more like just a new level of a new level of embodiment and a new level of I'd say purpose and mission and responsibility I've needed to hold. And I've really needed to start leaning on things to get things out of my system. I'm so good with the mental stuff, but it's another level to be able to hold it within your body and to process things. So I think that, when you're looking to grow and, be successful and or do anything in life really to grow your income, to grow your career, to grow your relationship, your purpose, your friends, anything in life, I think we have to recognize that there is the intent to be able to, like, I want this for myself, I desire this for myself, and that's great. But you have to realize that you have to be able to hold that in your body and in your system. And that holding it in your body and your system, that is a process of you expanding your capacity. And sometimes it's actually like a lot of the work that I've done lately is just putting myself in situations where I push myself a little bit and then I learn from that but not just pushing myself and then just going for it and then doing one thing after the other. It's pushing myself and then coming back and reflecting, okay, what did I learn from that? Like how did I go with that? What worked for me, what didn't work for me? Because it's different for everyone.
Just getting out your comfort zone. That
Yeah.
subconscious is constantly trying to bring you back into, and it might
Yeah.
be a comfort zone that you hate and you want to get out of, but it's still the familiar, the known, the safe. And with being able to hold more, it's like with lottery winners when they say that, what is it, 70-80% of them go bankrupt within a few
Yep.
years and lose all of the money because they had maybe a broke mindset, got all of these millions and just blew it and couldn't actually manage it well. That's like a
You
classic identity example.
I love that you're coming in with all the facts to my points. It's so good. I feel like I don't even have to work on this podcast. I would say like the point that you've just made, the thing that I love, and I know you want to talk a bit about this, which is the identity piece. People have to recognize, and I didn't recognize this for years, babe. I thought that, oh my God, imagine if I could just like click my hands and all of a sudden I had the books, the retreats, the business, the app. How great would I feel? Let me tell you, I know everyone has heard this one piece of advice so many times, but there is a reason why things are repeated.
I love
And
the
and
sing
that
songs
is
today.
I'm ovulating. Can you tell?
Yes,
It's my ovulation
I
day.
love the energy.
That's why I messaged you this week. I was like, I think this would be a really good time to do
Yes,
it because I'm
good.
always on fire. Um,
I'm
but
ovulating too.
I love it.
We're
We're
in
in
sync.
sync. um, Basically, the thing I would say is that if you just clicked your fingers and you got everything and everything came to you, the thing is the journey is the destination and it's not actually getting the things. You have to have the identity to be able to hold what it is that you desire. If you don't have the identity, you'll get it all and it will crumble. And the identity is what happens from you going on this journey and taking those risks, making those steps, like putting yourself out of your comfort zone, saying yes to the thing, doing the scary thing, starting before you're ready, like all of that, like that is like the reps that you have to do. And I think people just, they don't want to do the messy part. Like people don't want to do the 10 dark years. They want the success and the accolades at the end. Let me tell you, you got the success and the accolades at the end, but you didn't go on the whole entire journey. You would crumble as a person. You would just be like, I don't know how to handle this. I haven't got the capacity. So I think that we have to recognize that these are two, I don't want to say games you are playing, but these are two paths that are very much combined that you need to walk together.
Like with an overnight success in Hollywood
Yeah.
or someone who goes viral on TikTok and
Mhm.
they just can't hold it, they can't keep up with it versus someone who's posting for years and years and years, a video a
Yeah.
day, and then they have a more sustainable long-term career after that because
100%.
it's regulated.
Yeah, and you will enjoy it more. And I also feel like you'll feel like you earned it. It's this that like earning something in life is very important. And I actually been thinking a lot about this with ChatGPT and like how people could just like write a book with ChatGPT these days. And the thing I've like when I wrote my book, like gosh, that was hard. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like it was a beautiful practice, but there were moments that were very hard. And for someone like myself, I had dyslexia and I had gone this journey. The thing that I realized was that wow, imagine if you just like got a ghostwriter or just got, so a ChatGPT to write like a book for you and you didn't really put in the effort, I wouldn't have actually felt any accomplishment at the end because I wouldn't have actually done the work. I wouldn't have been through that journey. The process of becoming an author for me was even better than the actual becoming an author part. Like that was like I loved that process because like I'll never forget, I said to my literary agent, she was like, how are you feeling? Like it comes out soon. I just wrote like, I've already gotten everything that I wanted out of the book. I don't
And you probably
like, I know that,
visualized that moment
yeah,
time and time again. You've already been there a million and one times in your own head.
yeah. I was like, it's coming out, it's there, but like I went on that journey. Like I don't need the book now, which is so weird.
That is so good. And with
Yeah.
the money side of things as well,
Hmm.
you had to work, because I definitely have, um, being okay with earning money as someone in the
Oh,
health, wellness,
yes.
spiritual space.
Oh my gosh,
I
yes.
feel like we inherently feel bad because I would love this information to be free for everyone. I would love the type of work that I do to be available as healthcare in the UK, but it's just not. And it is something that you have to pay privately for. So I feel bad, but also the transformation that someone can get is just priceless. And yeah, I would love to hear your perspective.
Love this question. Look, the thing I would say, my dad said something to me that has always kind of stuck with me. And he said, Rochelle, nothing in life is free. And I rebut that because there are things in life that I have got for free. However, the thing that he had and the wisdom that he probably didn't recognize what he was saying is everything comes at a cost. So
Mhm.
somewhere along the line, there is a cost for everything. And although like, we have free healthcare and we have all these other things that we think, oh my gosh, meditation or this thing should be free or feminine empowerment should be free, all of these things. I think at the end of the day, someone's always paying for something because it's an economy. This is the world that we live in. And I think we have to recognize that you should not feel guilty being paid for your gifts, putting yourself out there. And I think that it's just this very interesting societal thing that has kind of twisted us to make us feel that, like, oh my gosh, we're like some horrible people because we're out there like selling something that everyone should have for free. And it's like, well, if you have that opinion, then everything should be for free. My tampons aren't for free and they're taxed. And I think that's bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think we have to just accept that, the reason why things are the way they are is because of the economy that we're in, right? And we're all participating in that. Now, I think that it is also so important to realize that there is nothing wrong with charging for your gifts. And honestly, they are the most valuable thing out there. And the fact that you have this guilt within you about that, it's just a sign that you're someone that really cares. And that it's also just a sign that you really should be doing what you're doing because your heart is really in the right place. And it means that you're not a charlatan and you're not ripping people off and that you're someone that wants to get this out there and you're like a prime example of someone that should be getting it out there. I think that money is such a tricky subject and I think that spirituality and money is weird. We've kind of muddied the waters. I think that doing this kind of, let's call it light work or, spiritual work or health work, this is the most valuable work that is out there. To me, it's really priceless. And yeah, these days I have no shame doing what I do and sharing it. The one thing I am so grateful for is I am able to give people all around the world the most incredible jobs because of the companies that I built. I have the most incredible team that are working in their purpose. They're all remote. They're all women except for my co-founder, Sol. And like if I didn't charge for the stuff I do, then I wouldn't be able to give people their dream and their purpose. And to be honest with you, if you didn't charge for things, like a lot of the time, I also think with certain things, you have to remember that the fact that there is a price to it makes people invest and it makes people show up, and it actually makes people take things seriously. And we're all going to spend money on something. So yeah, I've done a lot of work on that. Like I have this new journey that I put in Mindspo recently. I think you did it. Yeah. The
Did it?
money
Yeah, yeah.
magnetism journey.
So good.
Yeah. Which is all like a tapping journey about all around money. And I made that, like, started building the idea for that when I was writing Magnetic, because I had so much money shit that came up when I was writing Magnetic. Really interesting things that I thought I had mindset worked out, and I had results that I'd mindset worked them out. But then somatically in my body, I was feeling like this unhappiness or this like discomfort or this tightness. And I'm like, wow, like it could be solved, but I'm still not feeling great. Like I need to like actually get my body to be feeling where my mind is at. And that's been a really interesting process, because sometimes you feel like your mind is like, you could say all the right things, but then you could be freezing up on the inside. And that's a sign that like something is out of whack.
Yeah. So you need to get the brain and the body involved.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's been I think honestly, like that's my whole journey at the moment. I think I've been focusing on the mind for so many years, and I've also been, obviously focusing on the body, but these days I'm more like, okay, like let's bring these together as one. And that's why people like yourself, like we had such great conversations on the retreat, because you're someone that you're dealing with all this body work and you have so much knowledge in that, and you've been on this journey, but then you've also gone out and got all of this qualifications and this knowledge for all of this mindset stuff, and you can then bring them together. Like that to me is bloody powerful.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think you can separate them, but I was getting
Yeah.
results with people and myself just focusing on the nutrition and the supplements and all of that. But when I started incorporating the subconscious and asking
Mm,
people these deep questions, like, do you actually believe you can heal, or you're worthy of amazing
yeah.
and the pregnancy and fertility that you're desiring? They're like, oh, actually, and that was holding them back the whole time. So it's been really eye-opening. And
Yeah. Amazing.
I've done your money journey. I'm now on the identity shifting journey. I'm halfway through that. Honestly, the app is
Yay.
just my favorite thing ever. And
Oh, thank you,
I
honey.
love especially the manifestation movies section that you have on there as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and the power of visuals, visualizations, and things like affirmations and that combination?
100%. So, one thing that's very interesting is the subconscious mind works in many different ways. It is very emotional. It responds very highly to emotion. So, if you have a highly emotional event when you were young, your subconscious is going to be imprinted with that, because the emotions really leave a mark. But it is also highly visual. And this is why we can look at a stop sign or a certain sign in another country and we can know what it means, because we have an imprint of what that means from our own country, because we keep these ideas in our head. So I think a lot of people don't realize how powerful visuals can be and how they can give us a lot of stimulus and how they have this deep connection within us and they can make us feel certain things. And another way that we can really trigger the subconscious is music. So music is such a powerhouse. It is something that can allow us to tap into our body, tap into our emotions, really feel things. And as you know, feeling is really the secret when it comes to manifesting. You're not just going to manifest from thinking positive thoughts. It's also about tapping into those feelings as though it's already happened. So, manifestation movies, I am someone that has always been a very visual person. I'm a Libra. I love beauty and things out there. I have no shame in saying that. I love my beautiful things. Judge me. I love curling my hair. I love being a girl.
Anyone's watching on
Um,
YouTube and we see the gorgeous outfit, the hair, the background. We're here
It's
for
just
it.
me. It's me. It's how I express myself. I love beauty in buildings. That's why I'm in Budapest right now. I'm a beauty person. I just love it. And I think that the beauty is not like it's not just looks. It's also a feeling. It's a connection with things. It's nature. It's just life, right? I think there's beauty in so many different things. It's not just I don't mean beauty in like perfection. It goes so much deeper than that. But basically the thing is with manifestation movies, because I've been always a very visual person and I've loved all of that stuff. When I was making vision board movies back in the day, when I first got into manifesting, I kind of realized that they were good, but they weren't really sort of hitting the mark. I would make them and then they would kind of end up in my corner in my house and I wouldn't look at them again. And then when I started learning a little bit about neuroscience and how the mind works, I'm like, well, the whole idea is you're meant to keep looking at this thing. You're meant to keep connecting with this thing. So back in the day, I was like, in the entertainment industry, I was blogging and modeling and all that. And I used to go on iMovie and then I used to get all of the pictures that were on my vision board. I used to put them in iMovie. Then I used to write like captions over them. Then I used to find a song and this used to take me hours, babe, because like to like time and to split the little like what's it called? The little markers and
Yeah.
add them all together and then add the affirmations and then add them in. It was a nightmare. But I used to make these
Like
all the time.
video editor on the side as well.
Literally. And then every time I wanted to change something, because maybe I didn't want to manifest that anymore, or maybe I had manifested that, it would be this whole process of going in, exporting, all this stuff. So that's how I've been making vision board movies for over a decade now, and they've been like this secret manifestation tool. And I used to just make these movies. And the reason why they're so powerful is because a vision board movie or a manifestation movie, as we call them on Mindspo, is that it's pictures of your vision, so things that you would put on your vision board. Then it is affirmations affirming as though it is already there. So, like, I have manifested, oh, I am, all of those sorts of affirmations. And then you add high vibe music. And this is not like top 40 music because a lot of that is at like the wrong frequency and vibration. It's about music with harmonious sounds, affirmations that really uplifts the spirit and puts you in a certain vibration. Now, in 2021 no 2021 or 2022, when the global pandemic was happening, my retreats business completely shut down. I was in a giant mansion in the middle of the jungle in Bali in something called the Mindspo mansion. I'd paid 2 years upfront for all of my rent, and then the pandemic had just happened in 2020, and I'd been sitting in the jungle for like 6 months, freaking out about like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my whole entire business and livelihood, and this is terrible. So what do? I went totally
Manifesting.
delulu. I was a Delulu, as you could think, person. And I started creating what now is the Mindspo app. And my main feature that I wanted on the app is I wanted an app that I could make vision board movies. So I built the code with our developers and Soul from the ground up. This was not something we like bought from someone else. We were like, we need to be able to just like add pictures in and add music and do these affirmations. So I wanted to make a very simple manifestation movie maker so that you could have your manifestations in your pocket. So rather than getting out and scrolling on your phone, you could go and watch this beautiful 3 minute, 4 minute movie with all of the things that you're manifesting that would put you in a high vibratory state and really connect you with your vision. And yeah, manifestation movies, they're so powerful for the subconscious mind. They work in multiple ways through affirmations, like I said, through the emotion of music, and also for obviously through visuals, like seeing it every single day. And it has been, I've manifested so many things from manifestation movies. We've had so many people manifest so many things from using our manifestation movies. And to me, they are like my secrets, like weapon when it comes to manifesting.
Yeah, they are. In the book, you've done an amazing job. I'm not just saying this as well, just because you're on here, but the app
Uh,
is my favorite meditation app. The book, I feel like it's just an all-round just Bible of all the things that you need to know about the subconscious mind and all the different things like visualization, EFT tapping, subconscious beliefs, limiting beliefs, even the hidden payoffs, as you call
mhm.
them, of
Yes.
these subconscious
Emotional
blocks.
payoffs. Yep.
Yeah, it's so important that we learn all of this and it can impact our lives in so many ways. So yeah, I just want to like thank you for putting this work out into the world. And I know you've been in this industry for a long,
No.
long time now. And I just love everything that you do. And I want to thank
Oh.
you so much for agreeing to come on my podcast. And I loved meeting you in person. Um, Before we end, I would love for you to do your little elevate with us, just to
Ah.
just to end us on a positive, if you're
Oh
happy
my gosh.
to.
I love this. So I'll give some context. So
Oh yeah.
elevate is something that I do on my retreats, and it's something that I've been doing for years. Every time I work with people, I really do think that it's so powerful to get people to really tap into the power within and realize that you can do that at any moment, any time. It doesn't have to just be on a meditation cushion. So before we begin, everyone listening, I would ask you just to bring to mind a person, place, or thing in your life that you have a lot of gratitude for. This could be your pet, this could be your partner, it could be the place that you go for a walk in the evenings, in the park, whatever it is. It's just somewhere that makes you feel good and somewhere you have a lot of gratitude for. So once you have that place, close your eyes down. And then we're just going to roll our shoulders up and back, elongate our spine. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhale. Exhale, release. Next one, really deep and a big exhale. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Now just release the tongue from the top of your mouth. And now take your mind to that person, place, or thing that you have gratitude for. Allow that person, place, or thing to come to the forefront of your mind's eye now. Make it colorful, make it brighter, bigger, draw it in. And then now allow yourself to start feeling that gratitude in your heart, that happiness, that joy, that feeling of connection. Now we're going to take another deep breath in. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Now with your next inhale, bring it all the way up to the top. And then as you exhale, send that love, send that gratitude, send that appreciation out to that person, place, or thing. Put your hand on your heart and just say thank you, thank you, thank you. Allowing yourself to connect with so much gratitude for that person, place, or thing, thanking them for raising your vibration, for allowing you to elevate, for connecting. And then gently open your eyes.
So good.
Ah,
Every time I do it, I always think of my niece. She's like the
yeah.
the best thing. She's the light of my life. She'll be 2 next month. And I like feel emotional every time, but it really helps me connect with my heart and my
Mm.
feelings of love and gratitude. So thank you for doing that. That was a little tiny little taster of what you can get in the app. If you want
Yeah,
to try that and feel a difference,
I need to make one for that in the app. I need to
yeah,
do like a
yeah,
full
little
elevate.
reset.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
Babe, thank you so much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love your work. I love your energy. You're just like, you're an absolute light. And it's so fun to connect with people after retreats. And I'm just so proud of you. I know right after the retreat, you were doing workshops, you were getting yourself out there. And I was so excited to see your growth. And I'm such an advocate for your work. Like, I just think you're a really, really great person. And yeah, just really, really grateful for your support of Mindspo and me. And I'm so happy
Thank
to
you
be
so
here.
much. And tell us
Yeah.
where people can find you. I'll put all the details in the
Mhm.
show notes. But yeah, what's to come from Mindspo? Have you got anything for the rest of 2025, retreat wise, and where people can get your book?
Of course. So we've got the book. Ding. We've got Magnetic here. So Magnetic, The Secret to Manifesting Health, Wealth, Love, and Happiness. You can get it on in bookstores, but it's also available on Amazon. So it's Amazon next day delivery. If you get it on Amazon and you like it, please leave a review. So the book is there. Right now, I'm actually working on a brand new program that's coming out soon. It's called Safe to Be Seen, the Magnetic Presence Method. So that's coming out soon. And that is really all about that whole entire journey of putting yourself out there and honestly, helping people that like should be out. Well, I hate the word should, but there are people that should be out there doing the work and putting themselves out there that aren't because they're just nervous and they've got so much fear. So I have that coming out. I don't have any retreats that I'm running this year personally, but we have all of our Bali retreats. So I have a company, Mindspo Retreats, runs in Bali, and they run without me now with the most incredible facilitators. Like they are insane, amazing. And we've had so many people go to them and just like sing their praises. So we always have retreats running with that. Next year, we'll definitely have some more European retreats, probably in Greece for Mindspo. So keep an eye out on that. And look, for me, it's just growing the app, continuing my studies on the nervous system and somatics at the moment. That's been kind of just my next journey after magnetic. I think I started that whole entire process when I was writing magnetic because I realized that there were some things that I needed to learn, and I've been on like a really deep journey with that at the moment, and that's been a whole new level of hard, but in a beautiful way. So I think that, yeah, I'm just I'm continuing to be on my healing journey and going where my curiosity takes me. I've got my own podcast, Mindspo, all the things. So you can find me on all of that, anywhere you want to find me
Yeah,
in
you're on
that
the internet.
realm.
You're all over the internet. We love it.
Nah, just anywhere, but it's just that's kind of my vibe. I think the main thing is like honestly, the app has been so I think that's such a beautiful way just to connect. And I've done a lot of work on the app, and that's going to be, continue to be like a big part of the work that I do because I love the app connection, how you can just like tap in at any time to something. It just makes all of these things that we talk about on retreats accessible to anyone.
And the fact that you get so many return guests to the retreats. There was just
Yeah.
the the one in Cyprus who had been to the Bali one before, and they were like, I can't choose which one is better. They're both just amazing. So that's always a
Yeah.
good sign. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to follow along with whatever you do in the future. I just know it's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for joining us, Rochelle.
My absolute pleasure, Han. I've enjoyed the heck out of it.